playoffs last year, and what many would tell you, he's the greatest upset we've ever seen in the USL Championship. More than enough motivation for Louisville to come in and be the party crashers tonight, or will Detroit fend them off on their home turf? Sean Toach able to shepherd that out. It's a Louisville goal kick.
And yet with all the glitz, the glamour, the cup opportunity, still 90 minutes, right? That's certainly going to be the messaging from both of these managers as they step out onto the field to play today. If you're Louisville City, reestablishing the dominance of an identity that was about attacking games, making their opponent feel uncomfortable, even with a change in personnel, defensively being stronger, transitioning faster. For Detroit City, no Darren Smith up top, no Callum Montgomery on the back line, but a group that has been very impressive, controlling their matches overall, moving side to side, a lot of rotation on the front line in the width that has created quality goals moving forward.
It was played on this near side initially for Yamazaki. Louisville trying to press here, led by Tola Shawanmi. Carlos Herrera forced to get it to Devin Amu-Mensah and then further out to that far sideline. And then it's going to be a foul and a free kick. Matthew Corrigan is our head referee. He gives Detroit the set piece. So far for Detroit in Group 4 play, they started with a win against League One forward Madison. This is played in behind. It's Tola Shawanmi trying to cut through two Detroit defenders. And Detroit City just about get out of harm's way, but it's recollected by Dia. Jake Morris into the middle. It's popped high into the air towards the penalty spot. And Detroit get the header away.
Excellent defending there from Rio Hopegun. So difficult when the pocket collapses in front of you. Has to be one of those last-ditch efforts.
Our first flashpoint at the end of that sequence, a push and a shove between a player on each side.
Well done, though, by Lou City to repress, keep numbers up high. Something to keep an eye on for them. Louisville City, who, speaking with interim head coach Simon Bird, they want to be a pressing team. The problem within that is if you press high, you have to make sure you're getting pressure on the ball. And defensively, while transitions have been the #1 issue, late arrivals in those pressing situations have allowed their opponent to break their lines easier. So don't just chase, press with a purpose. Make sure you have good organization, you're communicating right, and your arrival times are more efficient.
Well, Matthew Corrigan took Atez Juve from Detroit and Aiden McFadden briefly off to the side after those two got into a little bit of a pushing and shoving match that lasted a split second. Morris and then Niang, not able to handle it on this near side. Abdoulaye Diop. Just to slightly retreat onto this near side. Let's whip it around for Kobe Hernandez-Foster. Hernandez-Foster again. Diop. This near side. It's again. Tried to play it back for Diop. It's settled down on this near side once again. Kobe Hernandez-Foster did score the last time Detroit were in action. A week ago, they beat Jacksonville, beg your pardon, 6-2. Darren Smith scored the other 5 for Detroit City.
That's not a typo, by the way. 5 goals. The last time a championship player netted 5 in any competition was in 2013. I don't want to tell you what I was doing then.
You really want to know what I was doing? I was a senior in high school.
Oh, dear Lord.
To put an age on that.
I appreciate you making me feel dated. Thank you, sir.
It's looped over the top. The always reliable Toach reads it well, but it's a Detroit throw. Smith also became the 14th player in league history to record at least 4 goals in a regular season game. That performance as Morris leaves it. Shot from Juve was blocked. Niang tries to head it clear. Detroit keep it in Louisville's half. Amu-Mensah. Detroit play through the lines beautifully here. It's Juve out wide. Chance for the shot. It's blocked out for a corner to Detroit on the far side. Stanley arriving, but has his attempt deflected out of play.
We discussed the change under Danny Dicchio for Detroit City. More possession, more control, but a lot more rotation. Love what I see here out of Aiden Stanley. Hernandez Foster drops down underneath. They still release numbers in. They triangulate underneath that front grouping. But the understanding that when Stanley doesn't pick it up on the first ball from Joe, to come off of that left shoulder, explode in behind the back three, take advantage of the space. Good recovery defending, better rotation by Detroit.
One of the things we talked with interim coach Simon Bird about was the tight margins when Detroit and Louisville get together. He said each of the last 3 fixtures have been decided by a set piece. Here's the first big set piece of the day for Detroit. It's an outswinger. Toch gets the header onto it first for Louisville. Play to the edge of the area. Amu-Mensah leaves it. Minson hits it! And drags it just wide of Danny Fondes's goal. And let's take a look at tonight's injury report. It's brought to you by Tiger Balm. Overall, Louisville are in pretty good shape on the injury front. But we mentioned earlier, likes of Callum Montgomery, Jesse L. Cedeno, Michael Bryant's been out pretty much the whole year, and Chizimek Buchalam also not available. Darren Smith not out, I should say is out, beg your pardon, due to personal reasons. That's the official statement we got from Detroit City today.
It's very much a situation, if you're head coach Danny Dicchio, Sean, where you're not looking to say, you go be Darren Smith. You don't have the ability to do that within this group. And that's not to say there's not talent here. He's a unicorn, the way that he's been able to play the game within this league. Speed you can replicate with players on the field. His pocket presence you can get through guys like Ben Morris. I think it's more about the ability to get numbers higher consistently, less transitioning at times, although you want to do that against Louisville, and more so about strength in numbers. And they've already shown you just inside 10 minutes they have the ability to do that.
So far for Detroit in the Cup, we mentioned earlier, a win over League One forward Madison. They had the lead so late here against Lexington on match day 2, but a Latif Blessing equalizer for Mac Hemi's group sent it to penalties. And then an incredible goalkeeping performance from Oliver Zemle, saving 3 spot kicks in the shootout, saw Lexington take the additional point, which has put Detroit in the precarious position they find themselves in coming into today's action. Looks like that leaked over the end line. Juve could not keep it in play. And before that, actually, I think the flag may have gone up for offside. Either way, Louisville gets possession. For Louisville, 6 points out of 6. Comfortable wins over League One sides Fort Wayne and Union Omaha. And Louisville needed, speaking of late goals, a late 89th minute equalizer from Ray Serrano to salvage a point against Marlon LeBlanc's Brooklyn at home a week ago. Simon Bird called it the worst defensive performance Louisville's had this season, and there was a period on the end of that sentence.
Yeah, it's part of the growing pains that Louisville City have been going through this year, where you take a group that over the last 2 years have been the Players' Shield winners. That's the best overall record in the regular season, most points acquired. defensive-minded in 2024, attack-minded in 2024, more defensively stout in 2025. It's hard to figure out what the genetic makeup of this group is in 2026, and so coming in, trying to find a way at really the halfway point of the season in all competitions of establishing an identity. Defensively, they can get it done, but in order to do that, they have to sit in areas like this. You want to compress the field, make it more difficult to play through these seams, and then start to throw numbers forward, more transitionally based. They had gotten more into the possession realm, and because they've gotten away from that, they've gotten away from their identity. That's what interim head coach Simon Bird is looking to establish on this poor run of form.
Simon Bird's connections to the city of Louisville go back to his collegiate playing days. Was a Louisville Cardinal player and was an assistant on the great Danny Cruz teams, whom of course made it to the USL Championship final back in 2022. Lost to one of the great teams we've seen in the USL Championship's modern era, Alan Marcina's San Antonio FC that year. However, Louisville haven't been back to the final since. Fondez sends it into the seats. Hernandez Foster is pressured there by Abakar Niang. The players that's been banged up a bit this season with injuries, just getting back into the fold for Louisville on a more regular basis. It was a player that impressed Simon Bird a lot, particularly in the early weeks and months of the campaign for Louisville. It was the right idea. Yamazaki just ran out of space. Louisville take the throw in quickly, up ahead for Shawunmi. Hernandez Foster does well to slow Louisville down.
I like the initial turnover there and the ball coming forward. Just be aware on the back end of it when it did break down. Notice the gap defensively for Louisville. That's where Simon Bird is looking to shore things up for them. If they start to extend and play high, that's fine, but you got to bring the groupings with you. Start to eliminate the opportunity for Detroit if they create their own turnovers and then quickly play out the other direction.
Well, the Fondez boot came up a little bit short. It's given right back to Detroit. Juve pushing the tempo here. Back into the middle. No one touched it. It falls from Minsingen, who was closed down, then puts it into the middle. And it's swiped away before it could get to Fondez. No foul there. Niang wins it back for Lou City. And then is fouled in the middle of the park and gives Louisville a free kick.
A timing issue on the other end for Detroit City. It's a good build. Unfortunately, overran the route on the near side. Rafa Minsingen. And credit to the visitors on the back end of it to not panic and instead reestablish a defensive dominance through numbers and then efficiently play out.
Here is Amadou Dia. Trying to loop it over the top. Oh, and Shawunmi goes through Herrera. And Detroit City certainly take exception to that. Talk about not quite having the timing right.
I love the idea of Amadou Dia playing quickly off the back line. He's direct and he isolates the space for the striker from Louisville and Tola Shawunmi. The problem is on the back end of it, it checks up on the turf, being able to judge it. A little bit of contact from Rio Hopegun, love it from the defender. And then as the ball checks, it allows the goalkeeper to come through, quickly pick it up, and he's just late arriving. He's not trying to create any contact whatsoever, no malintent. Well done by the referee to defuse the situation, yellow card, and we're on with it.
Well, one or two Detroit players are still talking with Matthew Corrigan, more than likely about the color of the car, but it does feel like that the referee got it absolutely right.
It's just a timing thing. Again, he's not trying to go studs up here, and if you actually walk the back end of the infraction, Shawunmi's foot starts to pull out and go down to get away from it. Studs are never up, attempting to make a play on the ball, and notices that as the goalkeeper has come, and they will protect him, he actually pulls out of the tackle. And while as a player, you are then verbally going to make a case for your fallen comrade, it is really well done by the refereeing crew. Yellow card is the correct decision.
It did take Carlos Herrera a moment to get back onto his feet. Looks to be okay. Conversation is still continuing here. Referee finally puts an end to it. And we'll restart with Detroit having it in their own 18-yard box. We saw earlier Louisville third place in the Eastern Conference of the USL Championship. Detroit just ahead of them in second. And everyone, of course, trying to chase down Tom Casciato's Tampa Bay Rowdies. But
good luck.
Story for another day. Good luck indeed, by the way. You're right.
You're one of two teams that have already booked their place in a quarterfinal match. Brinks Tires Cup, Colorado Springs Switchbacks being the other. I feel like you and I have an opportunity to break some of that down at halftime. I'm always down to get myself into trouble.
I've always told you you've been good at foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Some lovely Louisville interplay on this near side. Niang has space to run into. Morris to his left. Morris into the middle. Touch to the edge of the area. Minson again for Detroit. Lovely little pirouette, out of trouble. And Detroit can settle things down in their own half.
Good build, though, from Louisville. And it all started from Amadou Dia playing a little bit higher, allowing Jake Morris to come in and Baba Niang to get out of the pocket. Keep an eye on that for Louisville City. You add another layer onto that front line, all of a sudden it's 1-for-1 against Detroit City defensively. You beat your initial runner, advantage to Louisville.
Morris puts too much mustard on it, goal kick. We look there at Danny Dicchio. It's his third season as the head man here in Hamtramck. He's done a wonderful job year in and year out getting Detroit closer and closer towards the lead pack in the East. Obviously last year they were the 8th seed, then they pull off that incredible jaw-dropping upset at Louisville. Now they're in the top 3 again, and they are looking to push towards the top of the East, whether Tampa Bay likes it or not.
He's had to handle a lot in the 2.5 seasons that he's been there. First of all, attempting to fill the shoes of tenured manager Trevor James, then into the front office as sporting director. There's a changeover in personnel on the roster, both because A, he's trying to figure out players that fit his system, that is more ball dominant, a little bit more aggressive on the attacking side. But then even in the transfer market, figuring out players to replace club legends like a Stephen Carroll, right? Like a Matt Sheldon that came in. Certainly Nate Steinwasser in goal. So you're looking for a goalkeeper, ball dominance in the midfield. They've always been looking for attackers up top. And now all of a sudden, 2.5 years in, it feels like the project has taken the right turn for Danny Dicchio in Detroit.
You could even add bringing back Maxi Rodriguez to that list as well. Felt like it was a match made in heaven when he was here, goes to Rhode Island, comes back, and let's just say they renewed their nuptials. Feels like he never left. Touch up ahead. Cushioned header by McFadden, who goes into the ad board on that far side. Referee says it was handled, and I believe it's going to go Louisville's way.
The referee said handball. Oh, actually, it had come off a little bit higher. Still can't tell from that angle. Who says you can't influence the referee verbally? Been doing it for generations. Everybody just listening to me now.
From Louisville's free kick. Oh, it's on a plate. But in the end, pretty comfortable for Herrera. Show on me. No surprise was the target.
It's a quality ball whipped in from Wilson. The step through by center back youngster Brandon Days. Notice defensively, last couple of minutes, Louisville City trying to play a little bit higher. Haven't efficiently been able to cover as much ground as they would like in transitional moments. So coming out of their shell, trying to force the issue in a more advanced position. Don't be surprised now if Detroit City tries to play a little bit more direct. Louisville steps, you concede space. Guys like Atez Diouf and Ben Morris to recognize the right moments. Quality distribution from Hernandez Foster. You're in.
Joke with the back heel. Morris there to recover and head ahead of Minsingen. And wins Louisville a throw. We talked about Brandon Days, still just 17 years old.
Wild.
U.S. under-18 international. As Minsingen's going to win Detroit a corner. He doesn't play like he's that young at all.
No, you can see the profile real quick from Louisville's center back. Again, leads the back three, number 5 in purple. Good decision making. He's physically demanding of his opponents and of his teammates. What I've loved about him is his distribution has gotten a lot better. You know, the decision making is one thing. Ball at your feet and where to go at the right time is another. The teenager has shored up his game in that area as the season has gone on.
Minsingen from the corner. Looked like it last came off of Morris, and Detroit will get a second try at. At least that was the initial indication. It's going to be a goal kick instead.
We discussed coming into the match, Sean, about a change in pedigree for Louisville City, how those teams that won all of those titles, they were pretty demanding of the returning personnel. A lot of those guys are gone. Brian Ombie's not here anymore. Niall McCabe, no longer with the Cub. Cameron Lancaster, I mean, we could probably list out a solid 15 players. George Davis. Leadership is one thing. When you have young players like Brandon Days, that's where it becomes even more apparent because he is going to make mistakes. Getting the veteran leaders around him to assist is even more so impressive.
McFadden into the middle. It was swept towards goal. Lovely attempt from Jansen Wilson, but it's off target.
When you make mistakes, you continue to push each other, get up, provide confidence, and they have restored it over the last 3 matches, albeit some defensive issues last time out. I see more confidence moving forward within this group, and supplementing it on the defensive front is the compliment that Simon Bird is looking for now.
There was a lot of space between the lines there. Louisville won't want that. Stanley then pops it into the air off a ricochet, still battling for it. Toch then goes over the back. And Louisville will get the free kick. Morris, in the end, is the guilty party. There's also a Detroit player down, away from the action.
I'll tell you what's crazy about the expectation for this Louisville organization from us, from the fan base, and from the great people that support the championship, Brinks, Tires Cup, Open Cup, you name it. We're sitting here talking about Louisville, 1 win in 7 league games. It's only a handful of times that it's happened in their organization history, and yet they're still atop their group in Brinks Tires Cup. They're only in 3rd in the Eastern Conference. It gives you an idea of the quality of consistency they've provided every single season.
They beat Austin in the Open Cup.
Yeah.
They gave Houston a heck of a battle in the round after that. MLS sides, particularly Austin, who have a pretty solid pedigree this season. The other part of that, of course, that Simon Bird mentioned to us, is that Louisville, as he put it, are a bit bare bones, still waiting for other players to get back into the fold. That could potentially boost them for the second half of the season. From the free kick, there's a foul away from the play, right near the penalty spot, and Les Rouges get themselves out of trouble. Offside flag goes up. Joe thought he was fouled.
That's a really nice ball.
Jansen Wilson. Good save by Herrera off the bounce. And Detroit clears it out of harm's way.
Nearly everything we showed you in the Open for Louisville City. Great job defensively. They use the sideline to their advantage. They go 3v2. Poor decision by Job to play in, but even better by Duncan to immediately play aggressive and go vertical. Wilson from distance, yes, but look at the acreage of space that he's got, about 25 yards out. He's moving the goalkeeper, moving the back line with him. End product, not what they want, but decent execution by the visitors.
Wilson will take the Louisville corner. Waits for his teammates to be in the proper position here. Wilson whips it in. Oh, it was a free header as well. And loops over the top from Tola Showanmi. Sends everyone forward and played it short, presumably to try to avoid the Louisville press, but Louisville wins it right back with Morris. Playing in Serrano. Serrano into the middle, cleared onto this near side and out for a throw. Morris into the middle, headed to the outskirts. Wilson couldn't control it, neither could Niang. And then it's overrun by Joe, but a high boot keeps it with Detroit City.
I'll tell you one thing that's changed for Louisville that I love. I love the collar. Big collar fan on the kit.
Classy, yeah.
Yeah. Actually texted a buddy that you know, he'll remain nameless, the other day and told him that I'm going to bring back the pop collar. Quick reply, please don't. I was trying to channel my inner Eric Cantona.
Serrano sprays it onto that far side. Headed down by McFadden. It's flicked into the middle. That nearly came off for Louisville. Jansen Wilson going deep into his bag of tricks. Toch's throw. The header bounces out of play, and Louisville will get yet another corner, this time on the far side. Certainly Jake Morris is another player amongst the Louisville ranks who can provide that game-changing ball on a set-piece moment like this. He plays it short, however. It's whipped towards the edge of the area. It's Jansen Wilson's volley that's deflected. On the edge of the 6, it's cleared away by Rio Hope Gund. Morris gets it back. Duncan couldn't find a teammate.
Clever from the restart. Love this decision right here. The quick release by Ray Serrano. Tough ball for Wilson to be able to take the way it hops up off the deck. Good adjustment. Doesn't get as much behind it as he would like. But it is an area that Louisville City, even though they've conceded in some unnecessary moments, struggled for goals at times up high. Their ability to create chances from restarts, never in doubt.
Despite the struggles that Louisville had, they do still lead the USL Championship in goals scored this season with 24, just one ahead of Junior Gonzalez's El Paso Locomotive out of the West. Offside flag goes up against Jansen Wilson. Remember, a Louisville win will get them up to 9 points. They'd have the inside track at winning Group 4 and booking a place in the knockout phases of Brinks Tires USL Cup. A Detroit loss eliminates them from winning the group and would more than likely also eliminate them from progressing as the lone wildcard team as well. Detroit are on the front foot here. That shot bounces in, but bounces wide of Fondez's goal.
This is where the absence of Darren Smith gets you into trouble. It's really good interchange between Detroit City. As Ben Morris comes in, though, Aiden Stanley a bit confused on where his run needs to come from and stops. That's because his entire career has primarily been on the perimeter of the field as a marking back or utilized higher up in a wing-back position. When he comes centrally, the tendency of where the next player is going to be compared to where he needs to be causes a bit of confusion. And instead, they resort to a half chance from distance. Speaking of,
cue the train.
Bucket list. Not just being at Hamtramck, had the opportunity to do it. I'm gonna be on top of the train.
Oh,
right?
Seriously.
With a conductor hat.
Forget about the USL Championship. That's one of the great views / moments in American soccer, full stop, right there. Doesn't get much better than that.
Nice cold beverage, ice water with lemon, obviously.
And Detroit get a free kick off the back of it. That was Jope, fouled by Amadou Dia.
Good pressure, more importantly, on the release by Stanley down into the corner. I do like the relationship between the three of Stanley, Hernandez Foster, and Abdoulaye Jope. They've started to work off of each other nicely. Jope immediately recognized that support was needed. Pushed up against the near touchline. Good pressure.
Free kicks in a pretty promising position for Detroit. Just under 10 minutes plus stoppage time left in the opening half. Rafa Minsingen, Kobe Hernandez-Foster, the brain trust over the free kick. Hernandez-Foster whips it in. And the header will take it out for a Detroit corner. And Detroit have the short option available. Ben Morris to Hernandez-Foster's left. Morris plays it back.
Wide open.
Hernandez-Foster whips in a good ball here that's flicked out of play by McFadden. And Detroit will try it again from the opposite end.
Not a bad look. A bit surprised Detroit City didn't try and pick out Rafa Minskin right atop the 18. Very flat line for Louisville City and slow to step out and provide support. That's a really decent ball to the back post, if not for the timing by Aiden McFadden from Louisville.
Detroit have already had 4 corners tonight. It's played to the edge of the area and into the middle it goes. Fondez punches. Minsingen's follow-up volley is blocked. Dia misjudges on the near side, and Detroit continue to heap pressure on Louisville.
Really impressive from the goalkeeper from Louisville and Danny Fondez. Full command of the 6-yard box when this thing is whipped in.
Similar setup on the corner on this end. Morris, though, goes towards the byline. Stands it up across. Play to the edge of the area. Who could open up here for a shot. But it's going to be a follow-through challenge here. And now Louisville take exception to the Silva follow-through. The referee has a yellow card out. And again, both teams need to take a beat here. Silva, yellow carded, Louisville free kick.
Recognizing the contact more than what we saw against Carlos Herrera and Tola Shawunmi inside the top of the box. Similar situation where the touch just gets away from Tommy Silva. He thinks Rafa Minsingen is going to slide over and pick up that wayward touch. And instead, his reaction is now just to win the ball back, but it's the studs up the whole length of the way for the reason that the referee brandishes the yellow card. Another one, Sean, where the defender's not trying to be difficult in the moment. He's not trying to create contact on the player. He's just trying to win the ball. Doesn't mean it's not a foul. And I don't blame him for going either. You win that ball there quickly to your feet, and you've got numbers high, you've got space. You can attack at a moment's notice.
Serrano, who's slow to get up to his feet, of course. Friendly reminder that there's no VAR in Brinks Tire's USL Cup. So if Louisville were asking the questions about a change of card, it's a moot point. No surprise that there's been a few flashpoints. There always is between Detroit and Louisville because of the long-standing rivalry. But particularly when there's a place in the knockout stages up for grabs and your cup hopes are on the line, there's always going to be a little bit of an extra edge on top of even the rivalry itself. Challenge through the back there, and then Stanley did push off on the back end. Referee stops it for a possible head injury here. Niang is still down for Louisville.
Surprised the ref didn't blow the whistle on the challenge on Baba Niang. After the fact, Aiden McFadden sending a message when the ball comes back across the middle, but this first coming to right here. That's a foul. Arms away from the body by Abdoulaye Diop. He's not coming straight up. Instead, there's movement coming forward into Baba Niang. To be fair to the referee, 41 minutes into this match, the whole crew has done a very good job about getting every single decision right. That one right in front of him, though, it's a blatant error.
And remember, this was stopped due to a possible head injury, so this is going to be a drop ball. And Shawunmi gives it back to Detroit.
I'll tell you, he's a better man than I.
I was going to say he could do a lot of different things in that spot.
Yeah, 100%. I give Zach Duncan and Baba Niang, two midfielders from Louisville City, credit. They've played a ton of games this season. Louisville, Brinks Tires Cup, U.S. Open Cup, and of course USL Championship play. Niang and Duncan have only spent 58 minutes together overall through 2 apps across the entirety of the season, 46 of which were against Fort Wayne. All due respect from the USL League One and 3rd Division squad, they are not Detroit City. It is not a championship team, but they have had nice relationship in the first half. Good timing. Duncan releases, coverage by Baba Niang defensively.
Well, in some ways, it kind of goes back to something that Simon Bird talked to us earlier in the week, which is that he wants to change things. There's certain things he wants to move around and tinker with.
Yeah.
He doesn't have all the players that he wants out there right now to be able to make those real and true changes that Louisville, he feels, need to make.
I'm also looking at Baba Niang, the loanee from Minnesota United. He played 44 games for Wake Forest at the collegiate level, all of which in an 8-10 pivot.
Ball in there from Yamazaki, and it does go over the end line. Louisville cannot keep it in play despite the efforts from the teenager days, and Detroit get yet another first half corner.
None of which required Baba Niang with a lot of defensive work. That's his role today. He has done an excellent job in the midfield. The issues for Louisville City have primarily been on the perimeter of the field when Detroit City has stepped in behind.
Detroit will go away from the short corner setup, at least it looks like that initially here. It's whipped right to the edge of the 6. Amu Mensah's header pops into the air, and Fondez is able to make the catch. We've been there before in this rivalry. Set piece, Amu Mensah versus Louisville. That one did not work out.
Train's still going, by the way.
It's never ending.
You got to love this venue. I'll tell you what, let's put a bow on what you did a great job of describing earlier. One of the best venues, not just in championship play, in American soccer.
No doubt.
It is intimate. I'm saying that in the most polite of ways. The fans are on top of you from the get-go. You know, Hamtramck and Keyworth, it's pinned away in this little residential neighborhood that you have to back street your way into. Great food area on the left side of your screen. The train coming through on the right. It reminds me of an old school lower division European venue. But just because it's unique doesn't mean it's not difficult. It is a hard place to play because the passion that you get from these fans is unwavering and difficult in every single minute of a match.
There's quite a few clubs that kind of have that big game atmosphere now for home games. Detroit's always had that. They've always had that here. And my goodness, they brought it again here tonight. There's no questions about that. 3 added minutes at the end of the half. That's whipped into the middle. Oh, it was headed wide in the end by Hope Gund, just behind Shawunmi. And in a half that's been chock full of corners, Louisville gets another.
Smart, quick decision, though. The best chances Louisville City have had in the first half have been real rapid fire. Quick releases up high. You've seen numbers progress inside the 18, but it's that moment's notice decision where Detroit City defensively, you don't have a lot of time to react. And instead, it's how quickly can I get to the mark. Tola Shawunmi nearly with the go-ahead.
From the corner. Oh, it's headed towards goal. And Herrera is able to make the stop off the headed attempt from Zach Duncan. After they host Indy, go to Louisville on July 11th. That's the last game in the group for those two teams. It could come down to the Commonwealth Derby, depending on how all the results play out. Detroit will go to League One Fort Wayne, who unfortunately for them are already out.
Certainly Group 4, the only remaining natural disaster in Brinks Tires Cup play. It's crazy to think that coming into today's fixture, realistic chances for Louisville, Union Omaha, Lexington, Detroit, and Indy, 5 of the 7 teams in the group with a chance to move on, and not just as group winner. Now, you would need some moving pieces around you to favor slightly but also an opportunity for one of those 5 to nick off one of those coveted 2 wild card positions and get into the final 8.
Herrera needs the outside of his boot to get Detroit out of harm's way here. Juve does well, spins around Toch. Antez Juve runs past another Louisville defender and gets pulled back. Duncan is going to pick up a foul here, and for his troubles receives a yellow as well.
Love the turn on the near touchline. This is where interim head coach Simon Bird is talking about his team. When you're going to step with a purpose, when you're late arriving, way more difficult, and you become reactionary on the defensive front. I don't blame Zach Duncan here because of the near.
Puts Detroit in a decent position for the free kick. Hernandez Foster onto the near side. Juve going at Niang. Juve tiptoeing the byline, but it comes off of Detroit and goes out for a goal kick. Of good positive moments from the Senegalese international. McFadden wins the initial header, but it's back with Detroit only for about a split second. Toch clears it out of play just over the Detroit bench.
Nice pressure to start the second half from Detroit City. A different pep in their step. Feels like every single time you turn, they're first to the ball, winning their tackles, something they struggled with in the first half.
Detroit were swarmed on this near side, forced to check it down to the halfway line and hope gunned. Again, Detroit do really nicely to play through that Louisville pressure. Hernandez Foster. Silva had the right idea, not exactly the precise execution.
Some of the ideas need to change for Detroit City when they barricade Lou City down in their own final third. You have versatility within the ranks of your players if you're Danny Dicchio. So if you're looking at a guy like Aiden Stanley, Yamazaki coming off the back line, the ability to overload on the inside and then play through or off of them is something that's going to benefit you. A little bit too linear right now from the home squad.
That is not a good sight for Louisville. Babacar Niang is a player they just got back recently from an injury. And he may have picked up something here, and well, it's battle stations for Simon Bird and his group, trying to prepare a potential change if that is what the course of play requires. Look, there are 13 injuries for Louisville so far this season that have missed an average of just under 8 games, which basically means
half the season.
Half the season, that's right, and that's basically in all competitions as well.
All due respect to all players involved, they're not just missing bodies, they're missing impactful individuals. Kev Lambert in the midfield, Aiden McFadden, who's just getting healthy on the outside, Jake Morris, his complement on the left flank tonight, Sean Toch, the all-time leader in appearance and minutes in championship play, guys that have seen it and done it. And so it's one thing to just be absent-minded in general for player selection. Now all of a sudden, you're some real visionaries within the club. Another reason why they've struggled for results overall, and certainly what seems to be another one coming in here with Baba Niang, an emotion to the sideline by Sean Toch that he will need a change. Now, the good news right now, if you're interim head coach Simon Bird, is you do have quite a few players to select from. Taylor Davila would be the easy answer. It looks like his number will be called. One of the best midfielders in USL Championship play. Certainly can make an impact in Prinks Tires Cup play. So that he was left out of the lineup tonight due to a coach's decision, something that doesn't normally come up when you think about Louisville City and Davila. But one of the players, Sean, that needs to be a leader for this group. This can't just be leading by example. He has to be more vocal, more physical, and push these guys to positive results.
Well, so far this season, Taylor Davila is second in the league in chances created in USL Championship play with 31. Been an all-league player and a top playmaker over the last few seasons, particularly for Louisville. Before that, the now defunct RGV as well. Certainly has game changer written all over him when he normally starts, but now coming off the bench tonight. Jansen Wilson whipped in that free kick. Davila's header. Show on me. Herrera there for Detroit.
Back into that deep shape defensively for Louisville City. If you're Detroit City, I wouldn't mind seeing them, testing them, play a little bit up. You'll separate the units. You can also reset your defensive line. But if you're not going to play direct, more combination play, quicker decisions, a little bit slow right now. It's allowing Louisville City to remain organized defensively.
More numbers step up here for Louisville. Herrera plays it out of his own 18. Simon Bird really talked a lot to us about trying to keep the lines compact between the different parts of Louisville's structure from a pressing and just an overall setup standpoint. Off the turnover here, Shawunmi for Taylor Davila. Out wide for Jake Morris. Serrano. Hint of an offside here against Jansen Wilson. But it's a moot point. Great defending on the back end by Minsingen, and it's a goal kick.
Give both teams credit on the defensive side of the ball. Blue City on the first passage, and then as they quickly try and move vertical, no panic by Detroit City. Recover numbers behind the ball, keep the game in front, and win their own individual battles. Need more movement right now out of Abdullah Jobe from Detroit City. Aiden White going to pop out on the left side of your screen in a second. He's become a bit slow, just pinching off that right-hand side. That man right there, he's slow to every single ball right now. No link-up play for them on the inside. If it continues, that's an easy move to bring Maxi Rodriguez off the bench.
Duncan. Morris tried to stand it up. It's off of Hope Gund and out for a Louisville throw. Morris gets ready for the long throw. There is a scenario where Louisville can clinch a spot in the knockouts tonight. They'd have to win, and then Indy would have to win at Lexington. The game kicks off in just over half an hour. That was whipped into the middle. Yamazaki heads it away for Detroit. Louisville settles for another throw with half an hour of normal time left. And it's Brinks Tires USL Cup, so if it stays like this, we would go straight to a penalty kick shootout. Both teams would get a point. The winner of the shootout would get an additional point and leave with 2 points on the night. It's whipped in early towards Showunmi. Trying to lay it off for McFadden. Showunmi does not give up on it. Keeps it alive for Davila. Jansen Wilson stands it up into the middle. Palmed away by Herrera. Showunmi back into the middle towards Serrano. Herrera makes the catch.
It's well done by the goalkeeper on the backside of things. Second effort whipped back in by Lou City. And Carlos Herrera has done a really good job of keeping full control of the bodies in front of him. To your point about the format of this tournament, though, especially in Group 4, if you're either one of these teams, you want to win this in regulation. You want the maximum amount of points possible, because out of the 7, again, 5 coming in to this match day truly have the ability to win the group. You need all 3. You do not want to leave any doubt whatsoever for a team behind you to be able to play catch-up.
Both Lexington and Indy, just to further strengthen your point, are on 5 points. A win for either of them, if this game ends up with teams dropping points, they would go up to 8 points and potentially, and depending on how this game plays out, potentially first in the group as well. So you can look at mathematically and think, well, you know, points dropped here or there, maybe not as big of a deal. 7-team group, 5 teams still in it. It's pretty much essential to get all 3 points. That's a giveaway. Showunmi. Back for Jansen Wilson. Oh, he played it across looking for Serrano. Maybe could have taken on the shot. And Louisville pass up a massive opportunity there.
That's a beautiful decision by Louisville. They see the space. Quick long ball up over the top from Duncan. And notice for Wilson here, he understands that as the pressure comes, he's just trying to slow the game down, not allow the ball out of play, and instead allow the support to come up from behind, and it does. Showunmi, incredible move by the striker on the layoff. He's got to hit that right there. Laces right through it, head down, put that thing in the bottom corner, and it's 1-0. Be more selfish in the moment, and you've got your lead.
Well, Jansen Wilson has scored 3 goals in Brinks Tires USL Cup play. That's tied for the lead in the Cup. In the end, passed up the opportunity in more ways than one. Meanwhile, Juve battling with McFadden. Forced to try a different route and checks it down for Silva. Been a couple of good battles on that near side in this game tonight. Out wide from Yamazaki. Yamazaki's ball into the middle. Toch's header. Wilson follows up. Toch keeps it in play, sends it over the halfway line. Day's able to get an initial touch on that defensively for Louisville. Out for a LaRouge throw. Now, we've said it over the years in this rivalry, games tend to be decided by a singular moment and by a very, very fine margin. This game is going down a similar trajectory tonight in the Cup. Yamazaki's touch. Is it towards the byline? It's sent into the middle, cleared away. And Detroit keeps it on the far side.
13 meetings all time, 9 decided by a goal or less. And as this match continues on, we still have yet to see Detroit City register a shot on target. Louisville only have 1 in the second half, so right on cue. The slimmest of margins for both of these teams to be able to capitalize and find that coveted moment. I like the build for Detroit City over the last 3 minutes, utilizing that right-hand flank, more balanced overall, spreading Louisville City out to play through the seams.
Toach up ahead. Hope Gunn, doesn't deal with it. Shawunmi up ahead. Can Louisville take advantage of this? It's played out wide from Morris, and Morris is not going to be able to get there to keep it in play. Well, Danny Dicchio is going to make a change here for Detroit. Tommy Silva, who is one of the players on a yellow card, will depart and will be replaced by Ryan Williams.
Not only is he on the yellow, they've struggled a little bit to get him higher up. I mentioned balance, most of that coming from Outez Juve, so now Aiden Stanley will drop further back out of the midfield on that left-hand side. Expect Ryan Williams to come in and start to force the narrative more centrally. In the absence of movement from Job, you will get that from Ryan Williams looking for link-up play over Hernandez Foster.
Shawunmi not able to find Serrano. Yamazaki does well for Detroit, although he then nearly gives it away, but keeps LaRouge in possession via a throw. Days pops it up high into the air. Team struggling to corral it, at least initially. Minsingen finally settles it down. Job. Cut out by McFadden. Whistle will blow the play dead. It's going to be a Louisville free kick. But before that, Louisville are going to make a change here. It's going to be it for Ray Serrano. And the former New Mexico United star, Mukwele Akale, is going to take his place.
Will narrow some of the movement for City on the front line. Jansen Wilson more on the crossing pattern, working off the left, and Akale in combination play just underneath Shawunmi. All the more reason why you still want to push with Aiden McFadden and Jake Morris on the width for Louisville City. As that front three starts to tighten, it's going to constrict the back line for Detroit City. Should open up more space in the channels.
Well, I'm sure one of the reasons that Louisville brought in Mukwele Akale was for these kinds of moments. Can you help break us down or help break out our opponent's defense down in the attack and create or maybe score a big chance against a team that's very difficult to play through? And Detroit again have proved that they are difficult tonight to play through and create clear-cut opportunities, at least consistently. Pressure there forced the clearance. It ricochets back for Job. And Akale sends it out for a Detroit throw. 20 minutes plus stoppage time left. Williams for Amu Mensah. Who gets it back from Aiden Stanley. Williams was pressured by Duncan. Hernandez Foster trying to spin around Duncan. Remember, Duncan's on a yellow card here for Louisville. Has to tread lightly there. Lovely weaving run initially from Minsingen. It comes out for Williams. Back for Yamazaki. Yamazaki again, dispossessed by Morris, and then drags Morris down.
It's an impressive sequence by Detroit City. Ball retention, side-to-side movement. Still no vision, though, for many of their playmakers coming forward. The back end of it, really good defending. When they have been isolated, Louisville City, especially on the outside, they have done an excellent job defending. None of the players are getting flat-footed. They're moving their hips, stepping in when the moment presents itself.
No one can find a winner. Penalties are in our future. And we would go straight to the spot. For those unfamiliar with Brinks Tire's USL Cup play, no extra time of any kind. In these group stage games, you go right to penalties. As the offside flag goes up there against Louisville. Stanley tried to feed it for Juve down this near side to no avail. Hernandez Foster nearly found some space there. Minsingen trying to cut on a dime. Oh, it nearly fell again for Hernandez Foster, but it's cleared by McFadden, only for Stanley to head it down this near side. And it looks like it just leaks over that sideline. Great effort to keep it in play. It's going to be a Louisville throw. Looks like it was Juve. And Juve is still down after that great effort.
He took a tough spill, but this is more about the war of attrition coming in, popping up off the deck. A touch of cramping. Needs one of those pretzels in the supporter section. Get one for me while you're over there, bud. The bell has rung for dinner hour. Thy seat been relinquished.
I'm surprised you didn't say that when the train came by and an actual bell went off.
You gotta pick and choose your battles here, Sean. Lobbying for a ride atop the choo-choo doesn't mean I'm getting 5-star dinner service. So, you know, take the good with the bad. I'll take the free transportation.
Take the pretzels on top, right?
Yeah, there you go.
We said it at halftime. Detroit had about 62% of the possession then. The way it's been going in the second half, I wouldn't be surprised if it's the same, maybe even a little bit more of that. But what can they do with it down the stretch? There's still time for someone to find that definitive moment. Cross into the middle, touched away by Days. Williams picks it back up for Detroit. Oh, gunned out wide. Minsingen down the far side. And a little nudge in the back. Dia fouls Yamazaki and gives Detroit a free kick.
Louisville need to be very careful here. We've said coming into the match and all night long that defensively they want to sit mid to low, but they're not quick enough stepping up high against the back line. Detroit City, much cleaner in their overall decisions, and that side-to-side movement has allowed them to play more forward-facing in this match over the last 5 minutes. Ryan Williams in the midfield, a big reason for that. Excellent movement next to Kobe Hernandez Foster, and they've got a lot more control on the ball overall. Possession necessary for Detroit City to find success.
Minsingen and Hernandez Foster once again trying to find a way through Louisville's defense with under 15 minutes of normal time to play. Hernandez Foster whips it in low. Akale helps the header along. Detroit still have it. Chance to re-enter. It's clipped back into the middle. Another good header away by Days. Yamazaki. Atez Juve. Yamazaki tries again. Love the little give and go there. On this near side, Juve switches the point of the attack out to the far side. And then Minsingen. Stopped by Morris. It will be a Detroit throw on that far side. Before that, Danny Dichio will make a change here. That's going to be it for Abdoulaye Diop. He'll be replaced by a man who's scored some pretty big goals in his Detroit City career, Connor Rutz.
Understand the change for Diop overall, who had grown long in the legs, tired as this match goes on. I think they would have gone with Maxi Rodriguez nursing him back from injury and just let him have a go for 15 minutes. But the flexibility of Connor Rutz for the home team is why he's been brought in. Moving freely on the front line. He's good in the air, can play with his back to goal.
That is clipped over the top. Louisville were looking for the flag there. Was hooked clear anyway by Days. Show on me. Lovely hold-up play for Davila. Duncan out wide for Dia. Rare spell of possession for Louisville in these last 15 minutes or so. Davila over the top. Jansen Wilson will get there. There's two on him. Heads it out wide for Morris. Morris fending off Yamazaki, at least for now. And his cross takes a deflection. It will go out for a Louisville corner.
I give Jake Morris a ton of credit there. It's good defending by Yamazaki, but there was contact. He could have easily gone to ground. But instead, that nice stature he has, always willing to utilize his body to his advantage. Drop that shoulder, spin down to the byline. Well done.
Oh, Yamazaki now down near the goal mouth. Again, physical moments are really just par for the course in Detroit and Louisville. Well, I must say, Matthew Corrigan's done a really good job of not letting those kind of moments bubble over our head referee. Can Louisville cash in from the set piece? Jansen Wilson stands over it and whips it towards goal. Oh, it hits off the top of the crossbar. Nearly in Olympico territory.
I promise you, he didn't mean to do it, but he wouldn't have cared if this went in. Bragging rights fully in favor of Wilson in the locker room. Still gives him something to talk about on the training ground.
Wasn't it Oakland who had the Olympico at Vegas? I think that was also in USL Cup play. Nearly had another one.
Nice ball.
I think the referee brings that back, hands out a yellow card, and I believe Louisville get the decision here as well.
Really the first impact we've seen from Taylor Davila in an advanced position. He's had to do a lot of work off the ball and deep lying in nature. They have to continue to release him in some of these transitional moments, allow him to hunt higher up, free up the front line. second most chances created in league play in the championship this season. Continue to push Davila forward. You'd continue to find success.
Devin Amumensa gets a yellow card. Simon Bird for Louisville makes 3 changes in one go. Carlos Mogel Jr., Quincy Hewerman, Evan Davila all come in, replacing Tola Shounmi, Zach Duncan, and Jansen Wilson. Here's Akale. Miquele Akale cannot turn into space. Detroit recovers it well. Trying to loop it over the top for Connor Rutz, but Amadou Dia, plays a dangerous ball back. But Fondes is able to get it under his spell. Played down this near sideline looking for Quincy Hewerman. And he gets into it with Devin Amumensa. Smart of Amumensa not to get too deep into this. He's on a yellow card. We'll take another look at that.
Oof. Okay. Making friends, and I don't think that's in the Webster's dictionary. Words that were just exhibited.
And there's a reason for that. One of a few bubbling over moments that we have seen in this Detroit-Louisville rivalry. First time ball played down the far side. Mogel Jr. is not going to get there. Well defended by the aforementioned Yamazaki.
And some unique changes by interim head coach Simon Bird. Louis City fans may be curious as to the change by Hewerman up in top in that 9 spot. It's something they don't frequently see in the purple and white, though it is an area he will have a lot of experience in. Palm Beach Atlantic, Seton Hall, and then finishing off at the North Carolina Tar Heels. His head coach there, Carlos Samuano, would frequently release him up top in those isolated spots because of his ability to run. Wide open spaces and breaking in behind at good angles.
Was on the 2024 Colorado Springs team that won the title. And has scored in Brinks Tire's USL Cup play this campaign. Scored a late goal at Omaha in Louisville's 5-1 win. Stanley back for Amumensa, full recycle for Detroit in their own 18. Pressure from Evan Davila. Williams tried to spear it up ahead. Picked off by Dia. It was miscontrolled by Jake Morris, but he's bailed out as Yamazaki fouls him. Detroit will make another change here. That's going to be it for Rafa Minsingen. He'll be replaced by Maxi Rodriguez.
He was consistent, Rafa Minsingen, on that right-hand flank for Detroit City. Didn't really come into his own until the last 10 minutes. A lot of tracking off the ball, prohibiting guys like Jake Morris and Jansen Wilson from progressing forward. And keep an eye how they utilize Maxi Rodriguez. Last time out that he started a match, he was actually utilized on the perimeter on the right flank. He does a really good job at driving in from those exterior locations.
It's deflected up ahead for Rutz. He could not find Juve. McFadden tried to play in Akale, and the decision goes Detroit's way this time. Well, is there to be late drama in this rivalry cup tie, or will we settle, in some ways, really not, for the drama of penalties, which always seem to deliver in Brinks Tire's USL Cup play? We've had many dramatic penalty kick shootouts already. One already here at Keyworth. It's Brandon Days down in a heap. Louisville gets the free kick.
After the fact as well, give him credit for being brave, stepping right up through a ton of bodies in front of Brandon Days. Ryan Williams, you really have no other choice next to the drop in of Ben Morris from Detroit City. What has been a laundry list for nearly every Lou City player this season. Again, coming into the match, 13 different players, 102 games missed overall. For the average of those 13, 8, nearly half the season missed due to injury. Days has been a part of that.
Taylor Davila trying to poke it through two defenders, and then Yamazaki cannot keep the ball in play. Louisville throw, 3 minutes plus stoppage time between us and penalties unless someone scores a late winner. McFadden couldn't find Hewerman, but wins it back for Louisville and wins a free kick for Louisville as well.
Jupe's going to feel a bit hard done by the referee on the back end of this. Strong lower body from Aiden McFadden. That little step over the right shoulder into Jupe's path. Negative in space. Very clever from Aiden McFadden. And just keep an eye, the last couple set pieces we've seen, goalkeeper from Detroit City, Carlos Herrera, has conceded a ton of space on the near post. Quick little redirect, or even Jake Morris wanted to with the one-man wall. Could go direct, and instead, notice he shift over, eliminated that idea.
Morris! Oh, he hits the bar as well! Second time Louisville have hit the crossbar in the half from a set piece.
The audacity here from Morris to still try it. Herrera knew it too. Had a good coverage, albeit a bit high off his line. Now, the way this thing is dipping, had the goalkeeper beat, if not for the woodwork.
Jupe was trying to lead Detroit up the other end, settles for a throw as he was caught up to by McFadden. And that takes us into the 90th minute. Amu Mensah. Hope gunned. Yamazaki up ahead. It's checked back to him by Rodriguez. And then Yamazaki tried to feed that through. No foul, says the referee. Dia up ahead. Yamazaki's header, and then it's cleared upfield. Headed into the path of Atez Juve, who can lead Detroit forward. Still Atez Juve, he tries to cut it back. Lays it off, Rodriguez. Swarmed by Louisville players and dispossessed. He then fouls Akale, and Louisville get out of trouble.
Give Carlos Vogel a ton of credit the way he tracks back here defensively. Gets the slightest of touches on Juve in transition. Ton of space. Look at the midfielder directing the runs coming forward, telling the back three exactly where they need to be, and still eliminating a threat on the near touchline. A part of the support defensively on the back end. Really well done by Lou City in transition.
into 3 added minutes at the end of this riveting cup tie. Played up ahead by Morris. The ball didn't stop rolling. Detroit will have to do it again. Stanley. Ooh, Amu Mensah taken out. Another late Louisville challenge. Detroit gets the free kick. 2 minutes left. Lifted up ahead by Amu Mensah, flags up. Connor Rutz was offside pretty much all the way there. Louisville free kick.
Yeah, they've been better in the second half, Detroit City. Much more aggressive coming forward. A ton more movement out of the midfield. Some poor decision making, lack of supporting personnel up high, and of course Lou City's recovery defending have eliminated the opportunity for the go-ahead.
Rodriguez wins the throw, but Louisville gets it on the far side off of the Rodriguez header, mind you. Final seconds in Hamtramck. Toch. Looped it over the top. And once again, Morris cannot keep the ball in play. Headers flicked forward. And in the end, the contact this time from Evan Davila gives it back to Detroit with about 20 seconds left before we head to penalties. This could be the last act right here. Sent forward by Herrera. That's a hopeful ball, but it's flicked on in behind. And Fondez is there for Louisville. That's it, full time. Nothing to separate the rivals Detroit and Lou City in the 90 minutes. Both teams get a point. They'll fight over the additional point from the penalty spot when we come back. Lots of drama between these rivals. We'll head for more drama from the penalty spot after the break on ESPN2.